Hi friends, another week, another positivity segment. You guys know the drill by now, but I'm still gonna announce it each time. So for this week, I want to talk about how to handle waiting. So there's always moments in life where we have to wait for something really important to happen, and there's nothing we can do about it but wait. Say you're waiting to hear back on that job interview you just did, or waiting to hear back on some medical tests. It's always really stressful when you're waiting for something that could be life-changing and you can't do anything about it. In moments like this, we tend to spiral down into anxiety and stress, which is obviously really negative and isn't going to help you have a more positive outlook on life. Obviously, slight disclaimer, with things like medical tests, sometimes it is hard to stay positive because it can really be a situation of life and death. So in those cases, this may not help you. And if any of you are going through something like that, I'm genuinely sorry, and if there's anything I can do to help you, please just reach out. But how do you handle waiting to hear back on a job interview, or waiting to hear back on trying to rent an apartment or anything like that? How can you cope with that waiting period? Instinctively, what we end up doing most of the time is just spiraling and thinking, what if they didn't like me? What if I didn't get the job? What if they're just never going to contact me? What am I going to do? What do I do next? We end up spiraling and it makes everything worse. A really simple trick is write down the absolute worst case scenario and then write down the absolute best case scenario. Bear in mind that most times the reality is kind of halfway between those two. So say you're waiting for the call for your job interview. The worst case scenario is they just never call you because they forgot you existed because your interview was that terrible. The best case scenario is they're taking a while because they want to give you a better job or higher paycheck than they were expecting to, and it's taking a little bit of time to organize everything. So the reality isn't that they've forgotten about you while they're also working on your case. The reality of waiting on a job interview is they likely have hundreds of applicants they're having to sift through, and they're having to go through each person's resume one at a time and see what do they not like and what do they like. This can take some time, but the longer it takes before you hear back, often the better it is. In cases like job interviews, if they've told you that they will contact you no matter whether they're hiring you or not, the longer it takes for them to contact you, the better it is for you. The people that they know they're not going to hire first, the first people they're going to call. So if you've sat a job interview and they told you, we'll call you to tell you whether or not you get the job, you don't really want the phone to ring within an hour. Most job interviews end up having hundreds of applicants, so you really don't want to be in that first wave of calls. Also remember, no matter what it is, whether it's a job application or medical test, or you're waiting to hear back from a friend or a family member or whatever it is, you are allowed to reach out to them. Say at the end of your interview they told you they'd call you no matter whether they were hiring you or not, and they'd normally call you within 10 days. If it's been 2 weeks, you are allowed to call them and just say, hey, you guys told me I'd hear back within 10 days. I still haven't heard back. I'm getting a bit worried. Could I get some more information so that I know what's going on? This doesn't make you sound desperate. This means you're on top of everything. You know who you interviewed with, what the deadline was, and it shows you care about this job. If the interviewer at that point was hesitating between you and someone else and the other person still hasn't checked up on what's going on, it shows that you care more, and then you're more likely to get the job. Waiting sucks. It can be so hard and so detrimental. But it's really important to think that the worst case scenario is likely not going to happen. The best case scenario is also probably not going to happen. And reality is kind of somewhere in the middle. And remember, nothing's ever stopping you from reaching out to whatever it is to find out what's going on. It's really hard to put into place, but it's really important to remember. Don't worry until you have something concrete to worry about. Don't worry about whether or not you got that job and what's next until you know whether or not you got that job. You're wasting a lot of energy and mental energy on something that probably isn't going to need your energy anyway. Obviously, in cases where you are looking for a job, don't just stop looking for jobs as soon as you've done one interview. Continue looking elsewhere just in case you don't get hired. Whatever your case is, don't give up. Remember that reality is never going to be the worst or the best case scenario, and you are always allowed to reach out and ask, what's going on? So it is Tuesday evening, I had to think about that, and we're going to go see the new live action Lion King movie tomorrow, which means tonight we're watching the animated version, and Ben has actually never watched this movie entirely. So this should be interesting. And yes, it is my favorite movie, so it is quite sacrilegious that he won't watch it, but he's being forced to watch it tonight. Are you excited?
I guess.
Come on, it's a good movie! It's a good movie!
Okay, it's a good movie.
Yes.
Yes.
Good answer. Be excited. Wow, okay. So it's Wednesday morning, and today's the day we get to see the new live action Lion King. So if you've probably noticed that I say live action, because it's not live action, it's not like actual actors on a screen, it's CGI, which is a type of animation. So it's technically an animated movie, but we're calling it a live action. But anyway, I'm gonna go see the new Lion King movie today, which means I'm wearing one of my many Lion King shirts. I may have a problem with that. Whoops. Yeah, so as usual, I won't do any spoilers. I may do a binary review, so for those of you who don't know, 1 means I recommend you see it, and 0 means I would not recommend you see it. I may do that and I may not. And then for those of you who kind of want my full review and thoughts, as always, there's going to be a full review and thoughts video posted on Patreon. I'll probably get around to that tonight, so it'll definitely be up by the time this vlog comes out. I'm definitely excited about seeing this movie. I really like seeing all these new takes on a lot of the movies, mainly because it doesn't change the animation and how the animation, or what the animation means to me and how it affects me. But seeing the new movies kind of puts a new twist to a lot of these stories, or a lot of new angles, so I always really enjoy watching them. Hey, you excited about going to the cinema?
Yeah, sure.
Yay! You don't seem excited.
I didn't know you were gonna film. It's very ominous.
So we're home from the movie. We got home a while ago, and as I said, no spoilers, no expectations, that kind of stuff. Just binary review, 1 or 0. I would say it's a 1. I would recommend people go see it and make up their mind for themselves and not just kind of listen to what other people have to say. But obviously, having said that, if you're not interested in seeing it, don't go see it. I'm not going to force you to see it just because I saw it, but I definitely think, like with any media, it's up to everybody to kind of make up their own mind about it and see what they genuinely think rather than what other people think.
Nani, what are you doing?